Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into that huge mental leap, going from a steady employee to, well, a founder. We're calling it the safety net paradox. That moment job security starts feeling less safe and maybe more like a cage. Our goal here is to give you a shortcut, really, to understanding this whole transition. It's about trading that stability for total control.
Exactly. And that control, it demands a whole new way of thinking, like a completely different operating system for your brain. So our mission is to map out the differences in mindset, look at what early influences might have shaped your current thinking, and critically give you a practical blueprint for making that transformation, getting past that initial, internal resistance.
Okay, let's start there. The employee mindset. What does that look like? If you're someone who values routine, clear instructions, that reliable paycheck, you're likely prioritizing psychological safety, right? The notes we looked at suggest this often comes down to predictability. That paycheck is sort of an anchor. That the anchoring bias idea?
That's a big part of it, yeah. And the real constraint isn't about talent. It's more about being confined by a defined role. It means your growth potential is often set by the company's needs, not necessarily your own ambition. You know what to expect, even the downsides, but you avoid that kind of existential pressure of total freedom.
But isn't there strength in that system too? I mean, some high performers thrive because they prefer executing brilliantly within clear boundaries.
Yeah.
They don't actually want that burden of complete autonomy.
Absolutely. It suits a certain mental wiring. And this is where it gets really interesting. That wiring often starts way back in childhood. Our sources point to 5 key areas from your early life that really shape how you approach risk and stability as an adult.
Right. So before figuring out how to change, we need to understand what built the current mindset. What are those 5 formative areas the research talks about?
Okay, first up is parental influence. If you grew up with entrepreneurial parents, you likely saw independence, maybe even failure, and trying again. As normal, it kind of normalizes risk. Second, the educational environment. And this isn't just about degrees, it's more about whether your schooling encouraged, creativity, problem solving, questioning things, rather than just memorizing facts.
So it's less about needing another diploma and more about challenging that tendency to just follow the rules.
Precisely. Third is financial upbringing. Experiencing hardship can sometimes make you less afraid of failure because you've maybe seen what rock bottom looks like. On the flip side, growing up with plenty might make you really worry about losing what you have, that fear of opportunity cost.
Huh, that's a really important distinction. Okay, what are the last 2?
Fourth, cultural background. Think about societal norms. Is entrepreneurship seen as a respectable path where you grew up, or more like a risky fringe activity? That perception matters. And finally, number 5. Early experiences, simple things like childhood hobbies, projects you started yourself. These can be big clues about your natural leanings towards autonomy and what you're passionate about.
Okay, so if those early influences built this kind of architecture of security, how do you start taking it apart? We know making the leap brings challenges, right? Fear, doubts, maybe family and friends not getting it. That's why the sources really emphasize building a support system first.
Yeah.
Mentors, peers, networking groups. People who get it.
Yeah, that external support is crucial. It actually fuels the internal shift you need to make. And the research lays out a pretty clear, deliberate 5-step process for this. Let's call it the blueprint for mindset transformation. It actually integrates that support system.
Okay, let's break down those steps. We need the specifics.
Right.
Step 1. Deep self-reflection. This isn't just like listing your values.
Yeah.
It's a tough look at your readiness, financially and mentally. What's the absolute minimum income you need to feel okay? What's your financial runway, your burn rate? You have to know this stuff.
And then there's a knowledge part.
Step 2, education. Actively investing and learning what you need to know. Books, courses, workshops, whatever it takes. Then step 3 is strategic networking. This is where you tap into that support system. Find mentors who can help you handle the emotional roller coaster, maybe help you avoid that sunk cost feeling about leaving a good job.
Okay, and the last 2 steps, this is where it shifts from planning to doing.
Exactly. Step 4 is action. Taking real decisive steps, not waiting for perfect, breaking that big vision down into small, consistent things you do every day. And finally, step 5, resilience. You have to embrace failure, see mistakes not as the end, but as data. Learn, adapt quickly, and just keep going when things get tough, because they will. So pulling it all together, this transition isn't just quitting a job. It's a deep process of, well, self-discovery and intentional growth. You've got to actively dismantle that reliance on external security and build the internal framework to handle autonomy. Understanding your past helps, and building that network is key.
Well said. And the final thought from the research. It uses some pretty strong language deliberately to kind of shake you up. It basically suggests the biggest risk isn't failing at a venture, but maybe just settling for a life that's only about paying the bills. So it leaves you with a question. What one bold action will you take today to start shifting your focus, to invest in that mental strength needed for real success?